Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Maria, and it's so good to be back. I took a week off of this podcast, going on a cruise with my sisters, which was so lovely. Just be able to spend time with them. And here I am back. I've been thinking a long time, even over the cruise, about what I could talk to you about. And one thing that kept emerging again and again and again was the difficulties of launching a project. Why is it so difficult? I remember talking to a man I was coaching. He said, Dr. Maria, here I am. I have this great idea for a book I want to write. I know it's going to be fabulous. At least I hope it's going to be fabulous, he said. But there's a problem. Every time I start writing this book, it feels like I'm on a sunny beach. And all of a sudden, I'm hit with a wave of cold water. All of a sudden, my ideas and my splendid plans for this book seem to be submerged in this kind of cold, dark place, and I don't know where to begin. Well, I want to talk to you about that because I say that every time you and I want to do something that's really important to us, maybe it could be, well, like planning a cruise, or it could be writing a book. It could be opening a business. It could be, if you're a coach, launching a new project to interest potential clients. There seems to be this experience that it's going to be very hard. And you know what? It will be. Why? Let's back up for a moment. You and I live in two realities at once. I'll say that again. You and I live in two realities at once. One reality is called physical reality, and I'm going to be talking about that today because I want to answer questions about why it's so difficult to launch a project and what to do about it. What to do about it is going to come in the next podcast. So these are the two levels of reality. One is called physical reality, okay? And the other one is called visionary reality. And you and I live in those realities, in both of them simultaneously. And what we want to do is ultimately take an idea, dream, or vision that we have and launch it into physical reality. Yes? So today we're going to take a little more deep dive into what physical reality is all about. And I hope to answer some questions about really why it is difficult at the beginning and why this difficulty is normal. I'm going to say that again. Why this difficulty is normal. You know, I have this great quote from Winston Churchill. I want to read it to you. He says, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." That's Winston Churchill. And the reason I'm bringing that up now is because it is the courage to continue in the face of what happens when we bring an idea from this visionary reality where ideas are free flowing and we can get excited and we can see it in our mind's eye. And then all of a sudden we start taking action and boom, it's work. Well, physical reality has three factors, and I want to take as I said, a deep dive into this because once you see it, once you understand it, once you get a picture of what we're talking about, the difficulty will become easier, if you can imagine. So in physical reality, whatever you and I want to do, it doesn't matter what it is, it takes energy. And I have, over the years, been able to figure out 6 kinds of energy that we need to be able to use when we are in physical reality. First is the energy of money. Now, if you've listened to me before, you've heard me talk again and again and again that money is, in fact, energy. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not, clean. It's not dirty. It's just energy. And when you see that, when you can step away from any of your thoughts and feelings about having money, then you see that it's just a form of energy, like electricity. The second form of energy is time. Time is energy. I mean, the way we have formulated time. Now, I know that some Aboriginal people in Australia, I don't know if you've ever read any of the wonderful accounts of people who have worked with the Aborigines in Australia, who have an entirely different experience of time than we do. But we have an experience of time in which we see that it's a form of energy. Why? Well, when I ask people, why haven't you done what you wanted to do in life? They usually say, well, I don't have the time and I don't have the money. The third form of energy is physical vitality. Yes, that's having a relationship with your body, that you're taking care of your body, that you're listening to your body, that you're doing the best you can with your body, so that you're able to stay around long enough to launch your ideas, dreams, and vision. The next form of energy is the energy of creativity. Now, the reason I say creativity is a form of energy is because when we hit what I'm going to call the inevitable obstacles in physical reality, obstacles are inevitable. Really. I know we wish sometimes they weren't, but anytime you're going to do something that has meaning for you, that's important to you, and you start launching it, you're going to come across 1 or 2 or even more obstacles. And creativity, the energy is about how to circumvent, how to deal with those obstacles in the most creative way. The next form of energy is the energy of enjoyment. Now, this is why I say the energy of enjoyment. When you can enjoy, when you can find whatever it is you're doing that you enjoy about the project, and you can focus your brain on that joy and enjoyment, whatever you do will tend to prosper with a lot more ease. And the 6th form of energy is the energy of relationship and support. So not only does it take energy, okay, and sometimes at the beginning of launching anything, whatever it is, a goal, a dream, writing a book, opening a business, planning a vacation, you're going to have to take energy. But there's another factor, okay? I call it density. What does density mean? Well, it's kind of interesting. In my imagination, I can imagine, I'd like you to close your eyes for a moment. Can you imagine yourself lifting a piano up with your finger? Can you see that? Of course you can. Now open your eyes. Can you and I do that in physical reality? No, because everything that exists in physical reality not only takes energy, but energy has to confront density. In other words, atoms, in order to exist in physical reality, have to become much more dense than in visionary reality, for instance. So imagining yourself holding a book in visionary reality is much different than holding a book in physical reality. The third aspect of physical reality, and this is the one that really throws a lot of us for a loop, is this. Now listen in, okay? The third aspect of physical reality is that whatever is here is unpredictable. Things are unpredictable. Come on. There's very little that you can predict in physical reality. Incidentally, there have been studies on happiness. And in one study, they had people imagine going on their favorite vacation and imagining themselves being so happy, and they were going to go snorkeling or whatever it is they wanted to do. They were in warm water. This is one scene where they're swimming with beautiful fish and just having a great time. They're predicting what's going to happen 3 weeks from then. And then what happens? Well, in one case, really clear. And see, think of this. Does it happen to you? This one guy goes to Hawaii with his family, and it's raining all the time. And there's a big wind. And the ocean is choppy because there's a kind of an unpredicted weather front coming through. Unpredictable. And of course, the guy ends up saying, I thought I'd be happy, and it didn't conform at all to my picture. Has that ever happened to you? You've said, I'm going to have a great time, and all of a sudden there's a difficulty. Or you say, I'm going to have a terrible time. You predict that, and it doesn't happen like that. You have a great time. But conditions are unpredictable. There was a woman who talked to me about opening up a bakery and a little library at the same time. People would come in. This is in Sacramento. It was about 10, 12 years ago. She was going to have this bakery, and people would come in and they could sit. They might buy or borrow a book to read, and it was going to be wonderful. People were going to have a time to talk together, have tea at the bakery, and she needed an extra $20,000 to launch it. Okay, got the picture? So her uncle says, I would be thrilled to loan you this $20,000. Don't worry. Interest, don't even worry about it. We'll talk about the interest later. It's going to be very, very low, if anything at all. But it's my pleasure to support you. And she's all excited. Then, 3 weeks before she's set to open this bakery, when she needs that $20,000, her uncle comes to her and says, honey, I can't loan you the $20,000. I've had a business difficulty here. I can loan you 10. Unpredictability, yes. What do? Take a deep breath. In her case, she used the energy of relationship and went on a project called GoFundMe and told her friends what she was up to doing, her dream, and offered little prizes down the line. I think it was in terms of some extra baked goods or something for them, you know, but would they donate to her dream? And she was able to raise that extra $10,000. She's using the energy of creativity and the energy of relationship to handle unpredictability. It's impossible to predict in physical reality. Oh, look, you can predict. You want to hear this? It's kind of weird. Right, for a little weirdness. You can absolutely predict the weather with 100% accuracy. Do you want to know how? This is the ridiculous part. If you shorten the time in which you're predicting. So, for example, if I were to say, I predict in the next 15 minutes, when the sun is out, I predict in the next 15 minutes that it's going to be sunny. Now, that's kind of like silly, isn't it? But that's 100% prediction. But as you lengthen the time, are you with me? Weather prediction becomes less and less certain, doesn't it? Until when we're reading the weather report for what's going to happen over the next 10 days, and they say a 50% chance of rain, but you look, and during that 10 days, do we experience exactly what the computers are telling us? No, because the time has lengthened. And that's something that the woman who did open that bakery really was talking to me about. She said, you know, I had planned on having everything in place. And then something unpredictable happened. And I had to deal with it creatively. And she said, you know, for about 3 hours, I was just distraught. I didn't know what the heck to do. And then I started thinking creatively. I say this to you because, look, do you have a goal? Do you have I mean, really, what I'd like you to do right now is to take a piece of paper and a pen and write down something that you would love to have happen in the next 6 months. Anything. Make it fun. Is there something you'd like to be doing? Something you'd love to have? A place you'd like to be? Write it down. Why? Because in our next podcast, I'm going to talk with you about, given the energy and density and impermanence of physical reality, what can you do to make that goal or dream an actuality? Finally, before we leave, density, impermanence, and unpredictability. Okay? Those are the 3 qualities of a game. Think of it, whether it's football, whether it's poker, any game that you play, one of the reasons we love it is because it takes energy and, you know, the target is moving around. That's impermanence and the unpredictability. Who's going to win? Those are three factors that we love in any kind of game, whether we're watching football or soccer or whether we're playing a game ourselves. If you took any of those away, like, oh, it doesn't take any energy to do this, that's not a game. If you took away the impermanence, in other words, things are stable, that's not fun. And what if it was predictable? Would you be interested? No. As a matter of fact, if I were to say, you and I are on a soccer team together, and I'm your coach, and I'm saying to you that we're going to go and play our best game ever. Are you with me? We're going to go out on this field. There's only one thing I have to tell you. There's no opposing team. We're going to make these great scores and people are going to be goal, 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 goal. But there's no team we're playing against. Would you want to play that game? No. Why? Because we're not pushing against anything. We're not using the principle of density. Things are too predictable. No. You and I live in a game. That's what makes life interesting. Next week, I'm going to talk to you about how to handle this, what to do when you see that you and I are in a game. I call it the playing field of life, the playing field of life. So until then, this is Dr. Maria saying, I hope this has been useful for you. I love the fact that you are spending the energy of time listening to me. I never take that for granted. So until next week, bye-bye for now.